Welcome back to Next at CNN. I'm Sharon Collins. There are few causes out there that inspire more emotion on both sides than animal rights, and few organizations that have made more friends and more enemies than PETA. A woman confined in a cage, her half-naked body painted like an exotic cat. An activist dressed as Satan is chained to a railing atop a research hospital in Omaha. Political pressure in the form of political theater, all in the name of People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA. PETA rode the wave of a growing animal rights movement in the 1980s, blowing the whistle on using animals for cosmetics testing, trophy hunting, and other things that animal rights supporters consider outrageous and cruel. Even the big three in fast food, McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's, bowed to PETA pressure, upgrading their standards for humane slaughter. With millions of supporters, including a host of celebrities, PETA became a household name. But to its critics, PETA's tactics show more contempt for humans than support for animals. They say animal use in medical research is worth the trade-offs. Animals may suffer, but human lives may be saved. Neither side is shy about the hype. PETA's images of tortured animals versus the critics' tales of dying children. The point of agreement, PETA does a lot. The argument is, what do they do more of? Help animals or alienate humans? Joining us now with more on the hot-button issue of animal rights is Bruce Friedrich, one of PETA's campaign directors, and Robert Trzynski, a senior fellow at the Ayn Rand Institute and publisher of the Intellectual Activist magazine. Both join us from our Washington bureau. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. Mr. Friedrich, let's start with you. Is it fair to say that, granted, you have a lot of supporters, but you also have a lot of people that just can't stand your organization? Could you possibly be turning off more people than you could be bringing into the tent?
Well, we have the American public on our side. The vast majority of the American public in polls is very sympathetic to animal issues and wants to see stronger legal protections for animals on factory farms and in slaughterhouses. That's how come the entire state of Florida voted 55 to 45% to outlaw gestation crates. And this is where more than 99% of mother pigs spend their entire lives in tiny little crates where they can't even turn around. They're cooped for their entire lives in their own feces and in their own urine. This is the reason McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's have stopped doing certain things like starving laying hens for 2 weeks to shock the animals' bodies into another laying cycle. Certainly PETA standing outside their restaurants, passing out leaflets, letting people know what's going on, but at the end of the day, it's because the American public doesn't want animals to suffer so gratuitously. The people who oppose us are people like, the pork producers or the Chicken Council or now KFC, because we're coming after them for gratuitously abusing animals, and it unsettles them. But by and large, we have the American people on our side wanting stronger protections for animals.
Now, Robert Trzynski, I don't think you're with the pork industry or the beef industry, and I know you don't support PETA. So tell me, do you agree that they have been effective and perhaps have a place in society?
Well, this isn't really about popularity, and it's not about their PR techniques. This is about the principles involved. And I think the basic problem is that in upholding the alleged rights of animals, what they're really doing is restricting the rights of human beings. And the issue isn't really McDonald's or KFC or anything like that. These are somewhat side issues. What the real issue and the real heart of this is the issues like medical research, the use of animal testing in medical research. This is research that saves human lives. And in upholding the rights of animals and saying we have to not do testing on animals, what they're saying is that we have to abandon the medical research that leads to, cures to things like cancer or diabetes, the insulin treatments used for diabetes were discovered through testing on dogs. So the issue here is either the animals have rights or the humans have rights. And, I'm taking the side that the humans have rights and that's what we have to put first.
Well, this is really about human rights and about animal rights, and this is about concern for all beings. The reality is that continuing to addict animals to tobacco or cocaine or heroin isn't going to save any people, and we pump tens of billions of dollars into trying to find a cancer cure on mice or rats or dogs, and hey, we can cure cancer in mice and rats and dogs, but none of that stuff extrapolates to human beings.
PETA has a long history of trying to sort of rewrite the medical history on this. The fact is that medical research does lead to life-saving cures.
More people every year, Robert, more people are dying from heart disease, more people are dying from cancer every single year as we pump more and more money into addicting animals and tormenting animals in research laboratories. It's not helping.
Look, the fact is that also whole argument about whether research is effective is also something of a side issue. The issue is not whether the research is not just whether the research is saving lives, but if medical research saves lives, do we have a right to do it? And the answer of PETA is unequivocally that no, we don't have a right to do it.
Robert, that's like saying if we could drive to the moon, would we drive to the moon? It's
the founder
nonsense.
of PETA was asked if medical research could lead to a cure for AIDS, would you be against it? She said, yes, we would. And the fact is that medical research is leading to cures for diseases. It is leading to better
Robert,
treatments.
That's just such nonsense.
We can go back to, again, insulin.
No, Robert,
the
let me
development
just
of insulin.
Gentlemen, let me step in here just a second. Let me step in here. Robert Trzynski, this is a fair question. Can't you have medical research and be humane to animals at the same time? Have they not been effective there?
Well, I mean, I'm certainly not in favor of torturing animals for fun. I think, you know, they should do only what's necessary. And I know people who are in the medical research field. You know, they don't do it because they're somehow demonic, cackling people. They do it because they know that it will teach them certain things about the basic biology and certain things about genetics and certain things that will give them knowledge that will allow them to develop treatments and cures for various diseases. So, you know, the issue of whether they're humanely treated, again, it's like with the fast food issues with KFC or McDonald's. You know, PETA likes to make a big deal of how we're for humane slaughtering. Well, they're not really for slaughtering animals at all. They believe we shouldn't be allowed to eat meat.
Robert, let me just back here.
Let me go back.
The issue here is that whether we do humane
let me go back to Bruce.
We do animal testing at all.
Let me go back to Bruce just a minute too, and say, is it not fair to say that we can't test everything on people? I mean, you have to test some things on animals first. Fair enough?
See, but if you look at the polio vaccine, it was set back, according to Albert Sabin, the guy who discovered it, it was set back 10 years based on faulty animal experimentation. If you look at protease inhibitors for AIDS, they were set back more than 6 years, allowing many people to die, many people to suffer horribly because it was tested on animals, and they got false results. More than half of the drugs that are tested every single year, they pass the animal tests. They cause complications and cause problems, including killing people. This is like saying if you could get into a car and drive to the moon, would you do it? It can't happen. But in terms of humane slaughter, the reality is that right now there are about 9 billion chickens who are going to be slaughtered this year. Every single one of them is going to go through extreme trauma. Many of them are going to have their throats slit open while they're still conscious. They're going to be boiled alive. Most people would prefer to see chickens not boiled alive. Most people would prefer to see chickens not bred to grow 7 times as quickly their upper bodies as they naturally would. These animals are suffering from astronomical rates of crippling leg deformities, heart disease, heart failure, lung collapse, this sort of thing.
Right, Bruce,
and that's why we just launched the campaign against KFC.
Running out of time now. I'd like to thank both of you, Robert Trzynski. I'm going to get your name right before it's all over. Thank you so much. And also Bruce Friedrich, both of you passionate, and we appreciate you sharing with your insights with us. And
hope people will check out PETA.org for more info on PETA.
And we have to say the Ayn Rand Institute as well. Don't think those two will ever agree, but when